But that's the thing, is like they were all recognized as these people.
So they were all positively identified.
Yeah, positively identified as these people. The next one was actually Mansai natives.
And these people were not... These people that they were positively identified as were not prisoners.
Correct.
Okay.
They're like positively identified as
people who were not
the
prisoners.
hikers,
Yeah.
not the printer or not prisoners. That being said, like the latest escape was way long before this incident.
Yeah.
So, the Mansai native, Mansi natives.
You say Mansi, I say Mansai. It's like potato.
Living around there.
I've never met anyone who has ever said potato.
I've heard someone call it tomato.
I've heard someone call it tomato too, but I've never heard someone call it a potato.
Tomato.
Potato.
I have a funny joke on that one.
Okay, what's your joke?
There was this guy asking a girl on a date through text. And he asks her, "Oh, where do you want to go?" And she goes, "Well, I kind of want this, and I kind of want that. Which one are you wanting?" And thinking smooth, he types in potato. But if you type that in, what it reads out is potato. And he sat there and think, great, this girl thinks I'm like a moron.
Potato.
Anyway, Mansai natives kind of view part of that area as Holy Land. I think I broke Heather on this one.
Potato. I mean, you know me and how I love my potato jokes. Yep. We actually call Tim Potato Boy because he's from Idaho. He says Potato Man. We say no, Potato Boy. Potato Boys to the rescue. Potato.
They think that the Mansai natives wound up killing them to take their supplies. The thing is that all the supplies were there. Yeah. So obviously, like, it doesn't make sense on that one.
Maybe they just killed them just because they were in their territory.
What is it? Even if the story about the geologists were true, so the geologists being geologists finding Holy Land stuff there, there hasn't been a crime committed in that area for 3 decades. So it's one of those things where it's like...
Not likely.
It's not likely. This next one, which I kind of have this mild theory that it could be that. It says shrooms.
Oh, you know them Russians and their shrooms.
Well, like, the United States was experimenting with drugs at the time. Mostly marijuana and acid and that. Yeah. It's possible that Russia was doing the same thing. And a bunch of 20-somethings, yeah, we want to experience life, man.
Yeah. So let's go up to a mountain and do some shrooms, man.
Which,
let's go up to
this is what I'm thinking.
Dead People Mountain.
They take shrooms, and they start freaking out. Just, like, massively freaking out. Well, which explains why they cut themselves out of the tent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it does.
All of a sudden, one of them, like, is freaking out so bad that he thinks so-and-so, the girl, is like freaky monster thing and winds up tearing the tongue out. Getting it like creepy. Yeah.
Creepy.
Because he's freaking out. Like, he's trying to defend himself or thinking that's the way he can defend himself. What other people say is that there's a mushroom there called fly agaric, which is a very poisonous mushroom. That being said, this is the middle of winter.
Yeah.
Like, butt cold winter.
Yeah.
There is no way that mushroom's going to be growing right there.
They could have brought some shrooms with them, though.
I'm thinking they brought hallucinating shrooms.
Yeah.
That would explain why they were all freaking out.
Or any kind of drug, really. I mean, I guess there wasn't really found any drugs, but, I mean, if they did all the drugs, they could have easily overdosed and started freaking out and shit. Which
that shroom is also known for hallucinations as well. The next one is avalanche.
That there's
a possible avalanche.
Doesn't explain anything.
It can explain a little bit of like fractures and stuff. To an extent. The only thing it doesn't explain is radioactivity, which none of these have explained the radioactivity besides the CIA thing.
I'm telling you, I think they were raped by aliens.
And the tongue being ripped out while she was still alive.
Yeah.
There's secret launches, which there's launch sites everywhere. Mm-hmm. And it's possible that they were too close to one of these launch sites and were taken care of. That being said, who's the sadistic asshole that tears out tongues to be taken care of?
I don't know. That just sounds... it doesn't sound fun at all because she was still alive. This just sounds like a really messed up sort of situation.
And last but not least of the ones that kind of make sense is lightning strikes. One of the people, matter of fact, Yuri, part of his hair was burnt. And you see how it shows those veins on him?
I don't want to look at that anymore. I'm going to just scroll up a little bit.
Anyway, you see all of his veins on there. Something happens when people get struck by lightning or have a bad electrical shock that can actually scar the veins onto your skin. Mm-hmm. And so you'll have like this weird vein look on your skin that's a burn mark.
Yeah.
Like scars. And that's what it kind of looks like on that guy, didn't it?
Yeah.
So it's possible that was lightning strike.
Hypothermia too.
The only issue is still the radioactivity and the tongue being ripped out.
Yeah, and the eyes.
The eyes.
Don't forget about the eyes.
So,
ooh. No, don't scroll down.
Sorry. Some of the weird-ass ones. Weird-ass conspiracies, or ones I put down as weird-ass conspiracies.
Weird-ass conspiracies.
Is gravity fluctuation. You know what gravity fluctuation is?
Go ahead and tell me.
So, you ever heard of those, like, hills where you'll stop on the hill and then put it on neutral? And then instead of rolling down the hill, you're actually rolling up the hill?
Yeah.
That's a form of gravity fluctuation.
I've never actually had that happen to me before, but I have heard of the mystery spot. Have you ever heard of the mystery spot?
Yeah. That's the whole thing where it goes the opposite direction. Mm-hmm. That being said, those spots have been proven that it's not actually at an angle.
Yeah.
It's your perception of where you are. You think you're actually going up, when in reality, you're on a flat to slightly slanted lower surface, and therefore you're going forward.
Yeah.
Gravity fluctuation has never been proven of, like, spots that just all of a sudden no gravity exists and people fly up and that. So that's the issue that I have on that one. Along with the fact that it's not proving the radioactivity. Or maybe that's how they got the gravity to go up. There's some radioactive thing that winds up focusing the gravity out. Mm-hmm. Or the tongue and eyeballs getting ripped out.
Yeah, that doesn't explain that.
That being said, the avalanche, you would think it would cause damage to the tree line.
Yeah.
And there wasn't damage on the tree line. That's another thing I have against that avalanche.
Yeah.
Anyway, the next one, which a lot of people actually believe, but I don't believe in this one, like, not at all.
Aliens?
No, the stove theory.
What's the stove theory?
So, they're in this canvas tent, and they have a wood-burning stove in the tent. Mm-hmm. The theory is that the stove catches a piece of one of their clothing on fire, which can explain singed hair and that. But, if it catches the clothes on fire, all of them are experienced hikers, campers, and that. Mm-hmm. They would have found a way to put out the fire or go around the fire and out the front of the tent. There was no reason for them to cut out of the tent from that fire.
So because they're experienced hikers, what makes you think that the fire would be...
Have you ever been in one of those canvas tent?
No.
The stove can be close to the front, but there is enough space between the stove and the front of the tent that even if that stove was completely on fire, that you can still get past it through the tent flap.
But there wasn't any sign of a fire.
No.
They would have mentioned if there were signs of a fire.
Exactly. And another one, which actually is also a pop culture thing, is a teleportation experiment.
Teleportation.
There's a movie out there, and I've watched it before. It's actually a pretty decent movie. It's called
Blood on the Snow, the one with the Nazis?
No.
The Nazi zombies?
It's called Devil's Pass.
Okay.
And they follow kind of the same path as the Dyatlov's Pass. Mm-hmm. But the theory is that the USSR and the KGB are experimenting with teleportation and super soldiers. And therefore, it's the super soldiers that wind up killing
these youngins.
That being said, this smells like bullshit.
It does smell like bullshit.
Complete and total bullshit. Freaking tinfoil hat. Crazy.
Yeah, well, the next one is pretty tinfoil hat, too.
Yeti.
Yep.
Yeti scared him out.
By the way, Tim and I actually live in Utah, and we're fairly close to where Bigfoot is supposedly supposed to live. Mm-hmm. And we've actually had that show, that Bigfoot show, I forgot what it's called, Finding Bigfoot.
Oh, yeah.
I've actually visited our canyon and done a video there.
Well, here's the thing. I believe in a Yeti.
It couldn't be the Yeti, because the Yeti lives in Logan.
I believe in a Yeti more than I do a Bigfoot.
Well...
You know why? A Yeti is explained as an actual gorilla. Mm-hmm. And if you believe in, evolution and such, a gorilla in that area would be able to evolve to have white fur to blend into the snow and to be growing bigger because of the altitude. More lung capacity means a bigger body. Mm-hmm. Therefore, intaking more oxygen for that. Mm-hmm. So there is more possibility of a Yeti than there is a Bigfoot.
So what's the difference between Yeti and Bigfoot?
A Yeti is actually an ape.
Okay.
Bigfoot is a humanoid.
Okay. Well, technically, apes are humanoid. Technically.
Apes.
To an extent.
To an extent. To an extent. Same genus, different family.
Okay. So why did they think that it was the Yeti?
Some of the local natives believe in the Yeti. And it would be the only reason why the person's tongue and eyes would be ripped out is because that's kind of a big thing about apes. Apes kind of go for the mouth and the eyes when they get really aggressive against people and start biting. Fingers is another thing though too.
Why was it radioactive though?
That it doesn't explain it.
Well, Byron,
Yeti's radioactive.
I think it must have been a combination between the Yeti and aliens. I think we solved it. I think that's it. It was the Yeti and aliens. Or it was the Yeti and a nuclear launch.
See how much information there is about the stupid Yeti one?
Oh, you gotta read it, dude.
I'm not reading all that.
Well, why'd you write it down then?
Because I thought I might want to read it. I want the option.
I'm rolling my eyes right now. I'm rolling them so hard they almost fell out of my head and rolled onto the ground.
So, infrasound. This one is kind of weird. It's using sound to create a perfect storm.
The perfect storm.
Which, that one's kind of like that other one. It's it smells like bullshit.
Yeah, it smells like bullshit a lot, but you're still gonna read it, right?
I'll read through it. It says, as part of technological theory, there has been suggestion that an infrasound might have been responsible for sudden unpleasant feelings among the tourists. New research into rare weather phenomenon has suggested that a perfect storm could have struck the campers in the night, panicking them so much that they would have had to fled from the tent and fall victim to a brutal cold before they came to their senses. Donnie Anchor.
Elcor.
Anchor?
Elcor. He's like an Elcor from Mass Effect.
Who spent 5 years researching the incident and undertook a dangerous trek himself, believes that the wind phenomenon called a Kármán vortex street.
Damn Kármán.
Could have produced a terrifying, powerful sound which have proven to induce irrational fear in humans due to the unique topography